In this video, we will be reviewing the Revert Edge Expert Advisor by Mr. Levi Dane Benjamin. Stick around to the end to see if this is another real expert advisor worth your time or just another MQL5 scam. This video is sponsored by Prosperity Algo and our free Golden Time Bomb Expert Advisor. Do you want to make 100+% annual returns through automating the London breakout and the opening range breakout? Then click the link in the description. So, this page initially caught my attention as I'm actually aware of Mr. Dane here from YouTube, where he runs a pretty significant YouTube page, and he's probably one of the bigger channels in the whole MQL5 coding space. He also dips into the more traditional trading niche. So I thought it was very interesting that he's now publishing a bot on the MQL5 marketplace. And I believe historically he's primarily focused on trade copiers, and he's sold quite a few trade copiers. But this is really his first full-on expert advisor which he is selling. And it's really quite an interesting bot because it appears to have a very robust live signal, including actually a DarwinX tracked account. And that's something you don't often see with many expert advisors. So it's quite a neat bot, and I'm excited to dive in more into detail. And as the name would suggest, I believe this is indeed a mean reversion bot, and he says it uses a mean reversion strategy, and it takes advantage of price levels. So it seems to be more of a price action based mean reversion strategy, and that could actually be quite cool because many mean reverting systems I find are a bit too heavy on the indicators. So Bollinger Bands, RSI, those are kind of the classic way of designing mean reversion type systems. But the issue is that indicators often are pretty flawed in terms of triggers for a bot or for a systematic trading strategy. And this can lead to overfitting or just poorly made or poorly designed bots. But if he's doing a mean reverting system while at the same time using price action, that could be extremely interesting. In terms of the pairs that this bot trades, we're seeing a lot of the classic mean reverting pairs here, as well as some of the most popular pairs generally speaking. So GBP AUD is a pretty popular mean reverting pair, as is the Aussie CAD. And then there's a few of just kind of the big popular low spread pairs like the Euro USD and the USD JPY. So there's a good chance he's probably trading some which are very mean reverting in nature and some which are more just highly liquid and have very low spreads. And here he's saying that the goal of selling these bots are to essentially fund his own personal capital, which, yes, I suppose a lot of good developers have a similar goal. So probably the bad developers sell just to be able to kind of make some quick cash. But good developers are often selling EAs because they're trying to build up their own trading capital so that they're then able to trade more significant funds of their own. So it makes a lot of sense. And here he's saying that he's not trying to use any high risk or kind of marketing gimmicks, and he's not using AI in this bot. One caveat, AI can definitely be used in a legitimate way in trading bots, and many good trading bots do use AI. However, on the marketplace, a lot of people like to just AI wash, i.e. they will say AI, they will say neural nets, but they won't actually use it. And he's just kind of calling that out and saying that that's not the case here. He's also mentioning that this is a risk-controlled strategy, so no martingale, no grids, and then each position includes an emergency stop loss, interesting, as well as there's dynamic exit strategies. Okay, so that's quite neat. So he's saying that yes, there is a stop loss, however, he prefers to exit with more of a dynamic strategy. Because this is a mean reverting system, I would venture that might be a stop in reverse, but it could also be more of a technical exit. So I'm excited to check that out. And here, if we go over to his live signal page, we can see that it's been running for quite a few months by now with very good consistent gains. And looking at the actual trades, we're seeing that it's indeed trading a ton of different currency pairs. It doesn't trade too frequently, which he also mentioned on the sales page. He said, hey, this is not a scalping system. It tends to do more longer term trades. And we're seeing that here as well in the actual opening and close times. This is taking a decent amount of time to actually execute. So for instance, these are closing on different days, or if not on the same day, they're closing within quite a few hours of the initial opening time. So from what I'm seeing, it's more of a longer term mean reverting system, which trades the more mean reverting type currency pairs. And this makes sense because I find that if you try and scalp some of these higher spread pairs like the NZD CAD, it's going to be extremely difficult to do so. Because typically when you're designing scalping bots, you're looking for high volatility relative to the spread. And that's why pairs like gold or US30 work amazingly. You can also sometimes do this with Euro USD or USD JPY, but it'd be relatively challenging, in my opinion, to scalp the Euro AUD. So that's why this more like longer term, like a few hours, a few days style of trading is probably more appropriate for this type of pair. But now let's actually pull up the MT5 terminal, where I've taken the liberty of downloading this bot and already running a quick back test here. And the equity curve is looking like really, really good. So like, yes, this is not a perfect equity curve, but it's definitely upward sloping and it's looking exceptionally good, turning $10,000 into over $20,000. If we look at the back test here too, we can see that it has a very good win rate, roughly 71%, and that is coupled with a inverted risk reward of around an average 121 winning trade to an average losing trade of around $150. So that would make sense too. Like if you have a higher win rate, you would typically expect a more inverted risk reward. So no major red flags are happening here. It doesn't trade a tremendous amount, around 257 trades. And seeing as that it's trading such a large basket of currencies, it could be more selective on the entry on which it's running. And yeah, here I ran this on every tick based on real ticks. He mentions that we should run it on the Euro USD on the M15. However, I would highly believe that it's probably just running a bunch of different pairs automatically, which are hard-coded. And one thing to note as well, if we go to the inputs tab, if you're trading with a broker that uses a suffix or a prefix to its currency pairs, you will have to add that, and you will have to do this when you test as well. I use 8cap, so I had to add a .I at the end of mine. And here I believe you can actually choose between a few different configurations, both on the risk side as well as he has one option for IC markets and one option for Darwinex. So I would venture that one is kind of a little bit better for low spread brokers, whereas the other is more suited for higher spread brokers. So now we can actually run a quick visual back test to get an idea of how this bot works. And here we can see that it's slowly loading. Something that trades this many pairs will, generally speaking, be a little bit slower in a back test, but no issues there. And here we can see that it indeed has a ton of different pairs currently loaded. And maybe I'll pause the video here briefly so I don't waste your guys' time. Oh, no, here we go. And it appears to be trading. There we go. Buy limit orders are being placed. And I guess we'll have to actually flip through the different charts to see where it's actually placing an order. So this is on Euro GBP. Okay, let me go there. And if we zoom out a bit, yes, that is indeed a mean reverting trade. So it placed a mean reverting trade. It's a buy. I just want to see where the actual stop loss is. And we see a very significant stop loss. But I would venture that although it's executing on the M15, it's using a pretty heavy range. So here we can see the take profit is all the way up here at 0.76%, and the stop loss is at 1%. Let me actually hop over to the daily chart here, and wow, we can see that indeed it is trading on the daily. Like the range is trading can even be seen on the daily or the weekly levels. So it's quite an interesting system. Oh, but here it actually closed with a smart close. So it didn't wait for the stop loss to be hit. It closed it when the trend reversed, which is a really neat concept. Or like perhaps it's a time-based close. Okay, let me just check our history here to see where it's trading. Interesting. Okay, let me pause quickly so I can get a better idea of what it's doing. Let's pop over now to the GBP NZD. And if we go here, we can see where it made its trade. Or it's making quite a few. And these are indeed mean reverting trades. And if we zoom out here, it is definitely taking mean reverting trades with a trend. I'm trying to see if it's executing on certain levels. So these would appear to be executing on perhaps this level here, and there's no indicators being shown either. So, I'm curious as to what he's using to actually define the levels. But regardless, this is definitely a mean reverting system, so it's doing what he says it's doing. There's a mean reverting system, and there's also a smart close element to it. Because here, for instance, when price went against it, it actually closed the trade in a loss. However, it didn't make a very significant loss. So I would venture that this might either be a time-based close or some sort of technical close based on a trend reversal. So here we went short, we entered a bit more of a long trend, and it closed. And here we're seeing definitely mean reverting trades. I'm not so sure if he's either hard-coded indicators or is using zones around previous minima and maxima levels. So maybe just to kind of sum up here before I make the video too long, this looks to be a really good system. He is indeed trading a mean reverting premise on a whole basket of currency pairs. Because there was a live Darwin X signal tracking this, I think it's quite robust, and this is definitely a real bot. It's very hard to ascertain the exact entry signals he's using, but I would venture that likely he's using some degree of zones or levels to actually execute, and it's matching his description. So yes, what I can see so far, definitely matching what he says it's doing. It looks to be a legitimate good system. It trades a bunch of different pairs, but it does so in a relatively safe manner. So I would be really excited to keep tracking this, and if it's within your budget, it is definitely something worth exploring. So guys, hope you have a great day and enjoy. Take care.